Baxter, City Administrator for the City of Clinton, as we follow up the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. Good morning, Taylor.
Hello, how are you?
Doing good. Thanks for coming back out and talking with us. Good to see you once again. And what is this now, your third City Council meeting? And
something like that. Yeah, everything's starting to kind of run together now. You know, I was the new guy. I still am the new guy, but it's second or third, something like that.
The mayor's just throwing you right to the fire, sending you out to the big red barn like this.
He is, yeah. So it's I'm happy to be here. This is good stuff.
You got to have the mayor, by the way, tell you some of the stories of his previous visits out here before this ownership group took over. It's pretty entertaining stuff. It's really good. Yeah, for sure. And he's a storyteller anyways. So yeah, it's good stuff. But no, let's follow up the meeting last night, Taylor, and start with Dollar General on the, what is that, the southwest side or southeast side? No, northeast.
Northeast. Yeah.
Anyways, a new Dollar General store. You know, for a lot of folks, this is an exciting development because that side of the community has needed a kind of general store like that. We've got Casey's over there. You know, that doesn't offer perhaps what Dollar General will or could. So that's going to be a great development, but it's also come with some headaches for some residents. So speak to what we heard more of last night.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. This is a much needed spot for that area. You know, there's the Casey's, but this is, you know, not only just a Dollar General, but it's a Dollar General market. So there's going to be all sorts of different options for people in that area, you know, that maybe not necessarily have the ability to drive across town. And this is a great location where they can walk. And, you know, there are some, you know, concerns about traffic that we've heard and all of that, but, you know, Dollar General chose that spot and it's a great location, I think. But yeah, there are some concerns, and, you know, the public comment section last night, they expressed some of their opinions, and, you know, where we come in at the City of Clinton is kind of being that middle ground between, you know, okay, we have a great business that wants to invest in our community. We want to keep them happy, but we also want to keep our residents happy as well. So they're voicing some concerns, and, you know, some of them was going through the construction phase, and there was things that were happening that necessarily aren't going to happen. We hope not any further. Some of it is not necessarily inside of the building, which they were getting prepped for, but the outside of the building with, you know, debris, and, you know, some of the landscaping isn't finished yet. So we hear those concerns. I hear them. And part of my job in this role is to help enforce, you know, the codes and ordinances that we have within the City of Clinton to make sure everybody's playing by the same rules. Because that's what we want. We want to make everybody happy. And, you know, I kind of have to play the middle ground between the two of, you know, separating the two. But, you know, that's why we have those. We want to make sure that our residents are in a place where they feel like they're heard, and this is ultimately where they live. This is their safe space. This is their little bubble, as one mentioned it last night. And, you know, that's kind of been disrupted a little bit. So
So where have you come into play here in some of these things?
Yeah, so I've gotten phone calls from some of the residents, and you know, I encourage them to, you know, come speak to City Council, because that's where ultimately things are going to get done. Now, there's some things that I can just handle internally, and, you know, it's good to just express those opinions if you do have an issue with something going on, and let it be heard. So I take some of those phone calls, and then I was there at the meeting last night to try to help address some of that. But then I'm also working with Dollar General and their general contractor, and now the new ownership, and I've met with the manager, and you know, as far as electrical and doing the inspections there and the building permits, all of that kind of funnels through me. I've had some assistance along the way, as, you know, this is the first big project I've had to do within the City of Clinton, so some of it's still kind of new. So having people there that's done it before has been a huge help. But
so those relationships are kind of established on both sides of the fence, if you will, with Dollar General and the residents. So have you found you know, issues on what, you know, one way or the other, whether it's Dollar General complying with what the city has to, you know, in their regulations, not to mention the concerns of the residents and the residents' issues with the business? Have you found many issues in that relationship?
Yeah, you know, for the most part, it's been fairly good working with Dollar General. We talked about this a lot last night. It's just being a good neighbor, whether it's the business or, you know, the residents, and working together side by side, because, like I said, the Dollar General is not going anywhere. But how are you going to be a good neighbor to the people that are around you? Because technically you invaded their space, and, you know, this is what they had going on for a long time. So it hasn't been hard to work with. You know, I met with the manager the other day, and we kind of talked for a little bit, and she was very open and honest, and it was a great conversation, I thought. And the same thing with the residents. You know, there's certain things that we can control as a city, but there's also, okay, this is their own business and they need to take some accountability too. And it's not all on us all the time. To handle certain things. They need to take accountability for their stuff too.
Sure. Very good. So what is kind of the status of the things that were brought forward last night by the residents in that area? And then obviously the Dollar General opening and having customers and traffic in and out. What's kind of the status of some of those things?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to have a conversation with Dollar General again today, later this afternoon, and just kind of bring up, the debris that's kind of spilling over into the residents' yard. That's where I'm going to come in and say, hey, we got to work together and get this resolved. And if not, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
And so I haven't had that conversation with them yet. I'm sure that they've seen Facebook. It sounds like they're active on there, and Dollar General people are aware of what's going on too.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be shocked if they don't know that this is already coming. But all it is, it's a conversation. It's not like, hey, we at the city of Clinton, we're going to just do whatever we can and we're going to fine you. That's not how I operate. Working with people is ultimately what we want to do, and getting resolved in a healthy manner. Again, because we value Dollar General because they invested in our community in that area, and we don't want to tarnish that relationship either.
Sure. So what's their status on opening, getting customers in and out of there? How about that?
They're open.
They're open.
Yeah, they're not all the way. They don't have all the product in there yet. Their biggest holdup was the electricity hookup. So I know Ameren was there yesterday.
Okay.
So right now they got a generator sitting outside and it's power in the store. But as far as the cold items, I know they have drinks and all that. But as far as the food goes and things that are kind of in the coolers, that, as far as I know, have not been implemented yet.
Okay.
They're waiting for Ameren to come in and finally hook up the final inspection. And I'll go through all that with them.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
Cool. Yeah. So it looks great on the inside. I drive by and there's people in the parking lot, and there's
sure there is.
Yeah. It's a cool little thing.
It's going to be a great asset to that side of town. No question about it. And again, our guest in studio today, Taylor Baxter, City Administrator for the City of Clinton, as we follow up the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. And, I'm sure one thing, we didn't really dive into this when you were in a few weeks ago, kind of getting introduced to you. But one thing I'm sure you're finding is social media is a large part of conversation in this community. Folks go there for all sorts of reasons. They air all sorts of things. I guess talk a little bit about how much you plan to monitor that, be aware of what's out there. Is that new to you? Was that this similar situation in Pontiac? How about that?
Yeah, social media, it's touchy because it can be a very useful tool, but it can also spread like wildfire if you're not getting the accurate information. So it is good. There's a lot of great conversations that happen on social media. And this is where I caution people, misinformation can happen so quickly. And, you hear about I think it's called the train game. So you start with one person, you whisper something to the next person, and it just goes down the line, and how quickly the story changes by the time it gets to that in person. The same thing with social media. Anybody has the ability to talk on anything and spout off whatever they want. And I encourage people, if they do have concerns or they're questioning, okay, is this really what's going on? I'm not going to know everything, but you can guarantee that I'm going to be able to find out the answer from somewhere. And I'm a straight shooter. Hey, this is what it is, and this is why. And one thing with me is I get phone calls sometimes about, I want to be able to do this or do that. And if I do say no, I like to give the reason why behind it. And this is why we can't do this, why we don't allow this. And I encourage people to, if they do have questions, to contact me up at City Hall. I love talking with people. That's partly why I got hired, I think, is because I have the ability to talk with people and figure out resolutions to problems. And so, yeah, I'm on all those Clinton Facebook pages and, talking about Clinton and all that. So I see some of that stuff. I don't comment on anything, but
good to just have a pulse of what's happening.
It is.
Yeah.
It's good because, me not being from the area, there's certain things that they're talking about. I'm like, oh, that's actually, I need to look into that and figure out what's going on. So in that respect, it is very good.
Yeah.
Again, I just caution people because misinformation, it goes so quickly. Just call me. Call us up at City Hall. We'll be able to help.
Do you feel like you're drinking from a fire hydrant at some level, with everything going on right now and how much you have to take in and still, get acclimated to just from the role itself? How about that?
It is a lot. There's a lot to this job that, you have your job description, but then there's other duties as assigned. And that is a big portion of my job. no day is the same. It's really, I love that about this job. But I will say the girls up at City Hall in Clint have been awesome. So we have Cameron and Cheryl. Brandy's over in the water department. We have Rhonda, who does kind of our HR and insurance, and then Clint, who's our city treasurer. All of them have been awesome because they had to take on a lot of this responsibility since Tim left, and we had the 2 other administrators. There's a huge void there, so they're essentially helping me because they know what they're talking about, and they've kind of worked through certain situations. So they've been awesome, and I can't thank them enough, because if I didn't have them, it would be an even bigger fire hydrant. And I'd be drinking with a straw. It's just a lot.
Are there aspects of the Clinton City administrator role, or just the administrator role in general, that have come up? You were like, oh man, wasn't really anticipating that. You're kind of having to roll with the punches. Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, there's a couple. A lot of it is the building and zoning. That's something that I knew going in. That's what they were looking for. And there's so many different situations that come up with that. If you think about every single residence and then what district they're in, and then there's certain rules for that district, and then some of them are in a district that they weren't originally supposed to be. So then if they tear that down, they build something new. I'm mind blown, because like in Pontiac, I worked with our building and zoning department when we had issues and stuff, but you don't really know everything until you're in it. And there's still situations that I get now, and I'll ask Cameron, Clint, or Cheryl, or anybody. I'm like, what is this? And they're like, we have never experienced that. And so it's working together.
New for everybody, I guess.
Right. Yeah. It really is. And working through the code book, there are things that are a little bit outdated, and not necessarily changing everything that we do, but there's things in there that, hey, maybe we need to take a look at that. And it kind of came up last night with the whole beekeeping situation.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of a good way to talk into that. But there's an individual last night that came, and she was talking about beekeeping, and she actually called me before the council meeting, and I'm like, listen, I can't, even as a city, I can't change what the code says. This is a city council decision. I think this is a pretty neat idea. It's something for us to think about. So come and talk to us up at city council.
Yeah.
And she gave her presentation about, there's interest in our community of people having bees, and, it's not always this negative thought. There are a lot of positive to having beehives and that sort of thing. If it's controlled, we can't just go hog wild and just let everything happen. But there are certain things that make us think, okay, maybe we need to look at that.
Yeah. And I was going to kind of go there next. I didn't know how much you wanted to talk about it, but I know John Weiss has been kind of on this for a while now, updating that code book and, cleaning up those outdated things and doing things like, beekeeping. Maybe I know like chickens in backyards has come up probably, I'm sure, a few times. How about just your perspective on cleaning up the code book and where you fall in that role?
Yeah, it's a lot to undertake. I'm not going to lie. And I don't think this is all going to come from me. And again, we kind of talked about this at my first interview of, just because Taylor thinks it's a good idea doesn't mean that's what the city of Clinton thinks. So when things come up and you do have an idea, that first call, okay, let's talk about it. And then after that, it's okay, if this is something we want to pursue, everybody has the option to come and talk at a city council meeting, and that's where the action gets done. And we talked about social media. People love to just post on there, but that's not what gets things done. Coming in person and talking to the people that can actually get things done. That's how you get things moving.
There you go. Very good. Well, I'll tell you what, Taylor, let's take a time out here. We'll come back some more, maybe talk more about that beekeeping proposal and some other things from the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting as we follow up the meeting with City Administrator Taylor Baxter on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
If you're looking for a local, full or part-time job in Central Illinois, there's an easy place to go to find current job openings. It's IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. You'll find jobs available near you. And the best part is that it's free for candidates to access 24/7. If you want a local job, when you don't have to spend a lot of money on gas to get to, then you want access to IllinoisJobPost.com to check out current local job openings. That web address again is IllinoisJobPost.com. Another service from your friends at the Miller Media Group.
Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, police blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more is DeWittDailyNews.com. Since 2008, DeWittDailyNews.com has delivered fresh, online content to internet readers. From the City Council, to School Board, to the County Board, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com covers the local news you expect from the area's #1 local news source, and it's all absolutely free. Now you have even more ways to access DeWittDailyNews.com. Whether you're at your desktop, laptop, tablet, iPhone, or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com is delivered to all those platforms. That's right. It's even there on your iPhone and smartphone. The same local news, weather, and sports that's on the full-size edition is on your iPhone and smartphone just by going to DeWittDailyNews.com. If you haven't tried it, why don't you? Go to Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, police blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more on your desktop, laptop, iPhone, or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com.
When is the last time you considered your pet's oral health? Hi, this is Dr. Suster at Covenant Animal Clinic in Clinton. A pet's dental health is vitally important to their overall health. Learn about our dental services by clicking the Covenant Animal Clinic icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
For the latest in Central Illinois agricultural news, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NAFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Taylor Baxter, City Administrator for the City of Clinton, joins us in studio as we follow up the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. And Chief Flowers had a front row seat, Taylor, to an unfortunate incident in DeWitt County on Sunday. Shooting in rural Kenny, left one dead, another young person injured, but sounds like they're going to make it. The obviously suspect took their own life late Monday, I'm sorry. But his words, I feel like anytime Chief Flowers comes with a prepared statement, it's very powerful. What'd you hear from the chief?
I think you're exactly right. This is an unfortunate situation. And, what Chief Flowers wanted to highlight is, sometimes police, they get kind of a bad rap. And, during times of tragedy, they're the ones that are running to the incident, and others are running away or sheltering in place and they're not able to leave, that sort of thing. But just the bravery of our officers and hearing from Chief Flowers what kind of went on behind the scenes, in addition to multiple local agencies, the DeWitt County Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Mike Walker, and what they were working on and how kind of everybody collaborates together. It was a great thing to hear from Chief Flowers, and just how much respect he has for his team, the men and women that every day, stuff like this doesn't happen in Clinton and the surrounding areas all the time. And, they prepare for it. But then when it actually happens, they're ready to go. And it was really neat to hear how great of a police department we really do have in the leadership from Chief Flowers. It starts at the top for sure.
Have you gotten to know the chief and any of his officers?
Yes. One of the first emails that I sent was to Chief Flowers, and I've heard a lot of great things about him. Just, my city administrator that was in Pontiac, he knew Chief Flowers.
Oh, okay.
They kind of went to conferences together, and just spoke very highly of him. So
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that was one of my first contacts, and talked with him in his office multiple times. We just sat down and just talked everything, Clinton, not Clinton, just personal life, because they all wear a badge, but they're also people too.
Right, yeah,
so,
yeah.
Understanding the person as well is just as important.
And he's good people.
Yes, he's a great person.
Yeah.
He's a lifer, and knows a lot of people, and it's been very good to work with him.
Yeah, he's like Tim Followell. He's a great resource and a person to have in your corner when you need it, for sure. So
Absolutely.
Very good. Anything else on the non new business stuff last night, Taylor?
Yeah, one thing I could mention along with police is we have a swearing in last night of Officer Gracie Edwards, and her family was there, and her fiance, and she started with us back in July, and she was on vacation, and Chief Flowers on vacation, so the official swearing in happened, but this is kind of the ceremonial one last night. And she comes to us from Hudson, Illinois, and she's got a great background. Chief Lowers kind of talked about it yesterday with her. She's a firearms instructor, so she has experience in that. She comes to us from Hudson, and she's worked with the Danvers Police Department, and she also worked with Bradley University. So she's got great experience. We're lucky to have her. Sounds like she kind of wants to go into that K-9 investigative role, and we'll see where it takes her. But we're really excited to have Gracie Edwards with us on the police department.
Good call on that. I had forgotten about that one as well. Very good. Taylor, let's wrap it up with new business. Give us a preview of what's coming up. Let's see. That's going to be in a few weeks on the 19th. What do we have coming up?
Yeah, the big one that, and for those that don't know, the new business, they didn't vote on any of the stuff last night, and it says, on file. So if you see that, they didn't vote on anything. It basically, hey, we're introducing this. This is your chance to look at this. We have the documents ready for you. And then hopefully by the next meeting, we're going to go ahead and approve some of that. So that would get moved into the unfinished business for the next week. So on file is a project service agreement with Farnsworth Group. And what they are, what we went out to bid for was there's a spot of land that we call the Park Lane West subdivision. So it's on the west side of town, kind of by Baum Chevrolet. And the city acquired that piece of property, and what we're going to do is going to make it into 28 single family lot homes. And with that, you can't just cut the grass and say, okay, hey, you're ready to go. There has to be certain heights, and we need the the stuff underneath in order for them to go ahead and make that development. There's a lot of engineering that goes in behind the scenes that can't even be seen, honestly. So when they do that dirt work and they get things moving, that's where Farnsworth Group is going to help us out there.
Sure. I'll tell you what, I wish we could get to more. Perhaps we'll connect another time and talk about that. But Taylor, we'll let you go for the morning. Very good. Thanks for coming out. How do folks kind of follow along with you, get a hold of you? What's the best way to contact you?
You can go to ClintonIllinois.com, and my email is tbaxter@ClintonIllinois.com, or you can call us up at City Hall as well.
Very good. Taylor Baxter, City Administrator, our guest in studio this morning. We follow up the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. Network News is now.
WHOW.